Okay, welcome back, guys. Welcome back to our channel. We have our guest here, Gijs from PhD of Computer Science, yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Yeah, are you part of the Bitcoin Sydney or what? Yesterday, I joined the webinar, right?
Yes, I always join the Bitcoin Sydney webinar. I know some people there that I met on a conference, and that's why I joined it. And it's easy because I live in Kuala Lumpur. It's easy for me. They are in a time zone that's close to ours, so I can easily hop on the Bitcoin Socratic Sydney meetings.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like before I start with the video, can you share a little bit more about yourself and yeah, how you get into dive deep in the rabbit hole of Bitcoin?
Yes, so my name is Gijs van Dam, and I'm from the Netherlands, but I'm living now in Kuala Lumpur. And as you said, I'm doing my PhD in computer science here at the University Kebangsaan in Malaysia. And I've been working in the internet industry since the late 90s. And I still own a small web development company based in the Netherlands. So I've always been interested in web technologies. And I think I learned about Bitcoin in the late 2013, early 2014. So roughly 5 years after the Bitcoin paper was published. And yeah, I just fell in love with Bitcoin. I think the aspects of Bitcoin that really appealed to me were the fact that it's a decentralized cryptocurrency.
Yes.
And it just it made me think. It had the same feel as the .com hype back in when I started to work in the late 90s. Internet back then had this decentralized, almost anarchistic feel to it, where everybody could start their own company or run their own website or run their own blog. But this decentralized aspect wasn't intrinsic to how the web was built. There was a property of internet culture in the late 90s, but it wasn't intrinsic to how the web was built. And what you have seen in the past 2 decades is that that decentralized feeling of internet got lost over time. We have internet has become monopolized by a few really big companies that have really strong totalitarian tendencies, and I felt that Bitcoin was something different. It was with Bitcoin you have the decentralization is intrinsic to Bitcoin, and so when I first learned about Bitcoin, that was something that really grabbed my attention, and I thought that maybe we could create something with Bitcoin that didn't suffer from the mistakes that we made when building the internet. Something that had a natural resistance built into it against totalitarian companies and governments, and just maybe it's possible to fix some problems that we currently face on the internet. We can fix them with creating a decentralized currency like Bitcoin. So that's why it was something that I found really interesting. But I was still living in the Netherlands back then, and then when I moved to Malaysia in 2017, in 2018 the opportunity arose to do a PhD here in computer science, and so I took that opportunity to really focus on Bitcoin and on doing research on security and privacy of the second layer, something that we will talk about later, I guess.
Yes.
That's an introduction in how I got invested into Bitcoin.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, because of your insight and knowledge in computer science, I think you get involved not on the tech, not the finance, but rather than the tech.
No. I can honestly say that I have a little bit of Bitcoin, just so, but I'm not interested in investing in cryptocurrency at all.
Yes.
I'm interested in the technical aspects.
Yes.
I couldn't tell you the current exchange rate of Bitcoin. I don't know.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's why, like I said, I mean, like you're rather because of your specific knowledge in the technology, so you got involved by the technology, right? It's the same, right? Yes, exactly.
Yeah, correct.
So, yeah, I mean, so many things that Bitcoin has changed so much since 2013. I mean, like since you got involved in 2013. I mean, like the repository of the Bitcoin itself. Before 2013, I mean, it's still on GitHub or where? I mean, like right now in GitHub, right? On GitHub, right?
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't answer that question. Now I think everything was still. It was already on GitHub back then. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. But I don't know.
Oh yeah, because GitHub itself, like you said, is acquired by Microsoft, right? And Microsoft, as we know, is a tyrannical company, and yeah, yeah.
But that's definitely something. Yeah, I know that this debate. Yeah, maybe they should go. Maybe they should switch to GitLab and source their and have their repositories over there. But yes, no, I mean that's something, an interesting point you make there.
Yeah, I mean, is there any challenge for moving to the GitLab, as you're saying? Because I think, yeah, if they could have done it, I mean, they could have done it a long time ago, right?
Yeah, I don't know actually. I'm not that involved in the Bitcoin core.
Yeah.
Know what kind of processes there are required to move to GitLab. So.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, maybe I will ask some guy with better knowledge. I mean, like, yeah, because you attend the Bitcoin Socratic webinar earlier. We talk about a lot about the Lightning Network, right? And in this video, on one topic only, it's all about the Lightning Network. I mean, could you share a little bit about your insight and knowledge in Lightning Network for in general?
Yes. So. Lightning Network is something that we call a second layer solution. And the second layer is a term that is used for a group of off-chain protocols. And I think I need to explain what off-chain means. Off-chain protocols are systems where we can transfer value outside of the blockchain. So without hitting the blockchain, we can still transfer value. But in a situation where we are still linked to that blockchain. So with an on-chain transaction, and like a normal Bitcoin transaction, the actual contents of the blockchain change, right? So your transaction is literally in the blockchain. So the transaction depends on the blockchain to determine its validity. And in a second layer protocol, in an off-chain protocol, we have a separate system for those transactions that run on top of the blockchain. So the blockchain is the first layer, and then on top of that, we have a second layer where we have a system of transferring value. But it doesn't have to touch that first layer for each transaction. So transactions can happen without something changing in the blockchain. And that's what protocols are. So to dive a little bit deeper into this, maybe a general example, a second layer protocol works by having a set of people agreeing on locking an initial state of the blockchain in a way where it's impossible for anyone in that set of people, in that group of people, to modify that state on its own. So now these people have to use the second layer protocol to agree on changes to that initial state. and every change happens with the consent of all participants. So for instance, if you have Alice and Bob, and they both have 5 Bitcoins, and they agree to lock those Bitcoins into an off-chain contract, then once they have done so, they can agree amongst themselves on a new state. So for instance, if Alice transfers 1 Bitcoin to Bob, and then Bob can transfer, then they have a new state where now Alice has 4 Bitcoins and Bob has 6 Bitcoins. And then Bob can transfer half of a Bitcoin back to Alice, or Alice can transfer another Bitcoin to Bob. So they can keep on transacting with each other without ever needing to broadcast that transaction to the blockchain. And then eventually, when both of the participants don't want to change the state anymore, they can broadcast that final state of the contract to the blockchain. So from the perspective of the blockchain, you will only see the initial locking of the funds, so the initial state, and then you have the final transaction, the final state, which is a spending of those funds in the initial locking state, spending of those funds according to the final state of the contract. So according to the final balances between Alice and Bob, the final balances will be broadcasted onto the blockchain. And all those transactions in between, all those transactions between the first initial state and the final state, they will never hit the blockchain. They will never they will never require a Bitcoin transaction on the blockchain. And the reason why we need those the second layer is because of speed. We need to be able to and scalability of Bitcoin. Bitcoin has bad scalability. It's able to parse roughly 7 transactions per second globally.
Yeah.
So that's not enough.
Yeah, it's 1 megabyte, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the block size can only, so we have 1 block per 10 minutes, and there can only be so many transactions in a block. So roughly, if you do the math, that will come down to 7 transactions per second. Another reason is privacy. Bitcoin transactions are inherently not anonymous, and third parties can use the information that is in the blockchain to link identities with the transactions. So if in a second layer protocol like Lightning Network, you keep a lot of transactions off the blockchain, so they never touch the blockchain. So that improves privacy and anonymity.
Yes, exactly.
And a third reason why second layer protocols are interesting is because of transaction fees.
Yes.
Currently, if the mempool is full with transactions, transaction fees can be quite high.
Yes.
And transacting on Lightning Network is way cheaper.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, even like 0 Satoshi, 0001 Satoshi, I think, yeah, it's quite cheaper other than other blockchain.
Yeah.
So that's,
and especially with small payments, Lightning Network is fast and really cheap.
Yeah, so I mean, like it's I know that this for daily transaction because there's not enough in the block that you get processed. But what happens if we use the large amount of transaction on the Lightning Network? Is there any risk on there, or just the same like the on chain itself?
There are definitely risks involved with using Lightning. There are risks involved with using Bitcoin, period, but there are risks with Lightning as well that you need to be aware of if you want to run your own Lightning node. I think for one of the risks, I need to explain more about need to explain more about how Lightning works. So I will start off by explaining a little bit more about how Lightning works. Because Lightning, as of today, is the most successful off-chain transaction network. So it's by far the biggest. And what happens in Lightning Network is that two people that have a Lightning node decide to open up a payment channel with each other. So this payment channel is the off-chain contract that I talked about earlier. And it consists of a funding transaction, which locks money in the blockchain. And that is the initial state, which spends out that I talked about as well. And that initial state is normally the starting balance of the channel. So if Alice opens up a channel with Bob and funds that channel with, say, 100,000 Satoshi, the initial state spends that funding transaction and pays 100 Satoshi back to Alice. So that's the initial state. Nothing has happened yet. But normally that initial state would never hit the blockchain. It's just a starting state of the channel. And so now Alice and Bob can make a number of transactions between them, updating the latest state of the channel. And that latest state is always a Bitcoin transaction that splits the funding transaction between Alice and Bob according to that latest state. So at any moment in time, either Alice or Bob can decide to close the channel by broadcasting the latest state. So the latest transaction to the that latest transaction, they can say, okay, this is the latest state. I'm fine with it. I will broadcast it to the blockchain, and then the channel is considered closed. Yeah. They can do that by themselves unilaterally, which is called an uncooperative close, or they can do so in agreement, and then it's a cooperative close. But there's a thing here, and that's the point that I want to make. It is important to understand that they can always try to publish an old state as well. So there's nothing that keeps them from publishing an old state.
Yes.
So in my example, if Alice has paid Bob 10,000 Satoshi from her 100,000 Satoshi channel, then the new balance is 90,000 sats for Alice and 10,000 sats for Bob. But Alice now might be tempted to broadcast the old state where she still had 100,000 Satoshi.
Yes.
And why? So Lightning has an interesting trick, and that is that there's a penalty transaction. So every time two people in a channel agree on a new state, they exchange a penalty transaction. And a penalty transaction is something that you can publish the minute you see that your channel, so Bob can publish a penalty transaction the minute he sees that Alice publishes an old state.
Yes.
And the penalty transaction makes sure that all the funds that Alice has in the channel will then be directed to Bob. So the penalty is always that the other partner in the channel gets all the funds in the channel, and that's why it's not interesting for somebody to publish an old state. So that's how, in a nutshell, how Lightning Network works. But coming back to your question on what are the risks involved when running a Lightning channel, well, you have to be always online to check if somebody else with whom you have a channel, to check whether he publishes an old state. So, so in order to, because if somebody publishes an old state, you only have a limited time window to broadcast the penalty transaction. So that means, in effect, that you have to be online 24/7 to detect an old state being published, and then you need to act upon it by publishing the penalty transaction. And obviously, this all, if you download a Lightning client, this all goes automatically, right? but you really need to know that you can be online 24/7. So your node needs to be online 24/7. And if you, like, we live in a region of the world where internet can sometimes be a little bit spotty.
Yeah, yeah.
It's okay. It's okay if you're down for 10 minutes,
Yes.
or even an hour. It depends on the settings, but of the channels. But you shouldn't be offline for longer than an hour, because in theory you might lose money because somebody publishes an old state. So that's one of the risks. Another risk that is that because you need to be able to fund those channels that you create with Bitcoin, each Lightning client comes with an integrated wallet, an integrated Bitcoin wallet. But this wallet, because the Lightning client is connected to the internet by definition, the wallet is connected to the internet as well. So you should consider your wallet a hot wallet, and that comes with certain risks as well. So that you need to understand that the funds that you have in your Lightning wallet are funds in a hot wallet that run certain risks of being stolen more than Bitcoin in cold storage. Yeah, so and there's another risk, and this is something that I've encountered when I started out with Lightning, is
Yes.
you can also something, and I know of more people that have run into this problem, is if your hardware crashes and you need to restore your hardware and use a backup to get all the data back on your machine, then sometimes you are in a situation where your backup is a little bit older than the latest states that you were aware of. So now you run a channel with a state that you think is the latest state, but actually there's a newer state that you have missed because of the hardware crash. And now if you publish that state, in all honesty, because you think it's the latest state, then your other channel partner can penalize you by using the transaction, the punishment. So then you lose your funds like that. So you need to be aware. There are ways around it, but you need to be very secure. It's called static channel backup, but you need to be very secure with setting up your channel backups. That's a really important thing. So I think those are the three main risks that you run when running a Lightning node.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because of those three reasons. I mean, like that's why it's not recommended to have larger transaction of on Lightning, right?
Correct. And it all depends on what you want to do, but you should, if you run a Lightning node, you should be you should only have that amount of funds in your hot wallet that you are that you feel easy with, that you are confident about having in a hot wallet. Yes, and also be aware that everything is still beta software, right? So it's not all the clients are still in beta.
Yes.
And you need to be aware that there are certain risks involved with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like an open channel, right? I mean, the Lightning network itself. So that's
it's all open. It's all open source. It's all still currently in beta. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's these are the risks about the Lightning network itself. I mean, like you mentioned before about the penalty transaction. Yeah, I just heard about it. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit more about that penalty transaction. What's it all about?
Yes. So I talked about the channel. So if Alice and Bob have a channel, and they want to transact with each other, they agree upon a new state. They agree upon a new balance between them. But before they, the process of agreeing upon new state, the process of agreeing upon that new balance is a really intricate little dance of exchanging keys, and also in that little dance they exchange a Bitcoin transaction, and that's the penalty transaction. And there's all kinds of stuff happening, which is maybe a little bit too complex now to dive into all the details.
Yes, yes.
But for instance, if Alice, in the end of that little dance, Alice has a transaction that she can publish if Bob breaks the rules, and Bob has a transaction that he can publish if Alice breaks the rules. That's the bottom line of this penalty transaction, of the penalty system. So, and it's just a penalty that makes it, really not interesting for Alice or Bob to misbehave. They don't have an incentive to try to steal money from the other side. And this is, without this, it wouldn't be a trustless system. But this is one of the things that I think is so beautiful about Lightning Network, is that they have devised something that still has the properties of Bitcoin. So it's a trustless system that is decentralized.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, like that's it. I mean, it's since there's the second layer and then an open channel. Is that correct to say that it's not a really final settlement, right? I mean, it's the what it's called, the first transaction. Is that correct or not? To say the least.
Yes, the current, you could say that every state of a channel is not the final settlement, but both partners in both channel partners, both Alice and Bob, still always have that option to them to make it the final settlement. They can always unilaterally publish that state to the blockchain, and then it is their final. Then it is the final settlement.
Yes, exactly. I mean, like the Bitcoin itself, like to solve the double spending problem, right? I mean, when it comes to not become final settlement, I think it's easy to manipulate and easier to like not make it the final settlement, right?
No, but that's an interesting point you make there. So actually, where Bitcoin solved the double spending problem, now because of the second layer, you have again you introduce the double spending problem again, right? Yes. So it comes back again, but then they found a way of solving it by having the penalty transaction. Yes.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of it. I mean, as long as you run your own node and everyone can validate, right, the right transaction. Is that correct? I say. So when you, sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's correct. That's correct.
You said before, right? You need to stay online, right, to validate all the. Not validate. I mean, like to see the open channel when it comes to that, and but at the same time, the Lightning Network itself, it's globally across the globe. I mean, something like that. So that's can you imagine in the situation like Lightning itself? What is it? When someone to transact from Alice to Bob is become like no. I mean, let me change rephrase the question. I'm sorry for my bad English. Yeah. is it correct to say that you need to run your own node in order to like properly use the Lightning? I mean, like full node or like or something like that. I think is that correct to say or not?
I think that there are all kinds of you can have all kinds of solutions in between running your own node. Obviously, I think that if you want to be fully non-custodial, then you have to run your own node, run your own Bitcoin wallet, and then you have to do everything yourself. But there are also more custodial solutions, and I'm not aware of, since my research only focuses on the 3 main Lightning clients. I'm very much invested in running your own node. I've run all the 3 main clients. I've installed them, worked with them, transacted with them. So yes, if you want to have the full Lightning experience, then yes, you have to run your own node. But you can also, there are multiple wallets already supporting Lightning as well. So you could also look into those solutions that are more tied to a custodial wallet. But yeah, again, I'm not that knowledgeable about the custodial solutions for Lightning wallets. So,
Yes.
and I'm very much saying that everybody should run their own. If you have a little bit of, if you have a technical background, if you are smart with computers, then please run your own node. Also because it's beneficial for the Lightning network as a whole, right? We want to have as much people running their own nodes to have a strong decentralized network.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because that's the beauty of Bitcoin, decentralized and not your keys, not your coin, not your nodes, not your rules. Yeah,
exactly, exactly. So yeah, that goes for Lightning as well.
Yes, exactly. I mean, like when it comes to Lightning itself, as you said before, when you try to use Lightning network as an open channel, is that? Oh, wait, sorry. I repressed the question. I mean, like Lightning network itself. Wait, I forgot. Sorry. When it comes to Lightning network, have you when the wait, I forgot the question. Yeah, the Taproot in the Lightning network. I mean, like in the upgrades of Taproot, where you have different wallets, right, in between, because the Taproot itself is like more what is called more privacy. And what did you make of it? I mean, like the Taproot.
So Taproot is a really interesting new piece of technology that we will definitely use in the Lightning network, and Taproot is a way of combining keys. It's a new cryptographic primitive where you can publish a transaction to the blockchain, and it just looks like it's just a normal blockchain transaction. So you can't identify it as, for instance, a closing transaction for a Lightning network channel, and that makes it really interesting to use in Lightning network because it improves privacy. So from that perspective, from that point of view, Taproot is really interesting. There are also all kinds of other things tied into Taproot as well, but I think that is now that's a really interesting direction that the Lightning network will take, implementing Taproot. Yes.
Because it's yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. It's multi-sig or no? I mean, like the Taproot itself when you use the Lightning Network because yeah, maybe some wallets still use like Snore or yeah or not. What is it? I forgot, but do you understand what I mean? I mean, like when
Yes.
you suffer across the channel.
Yeah, so Taproot makes it possible to make a multi-sig payment, but for somebody from outside inspecting the blockchain, it doesn't. You couldn't identify it as a multi-sig payment, and that makes it really interesting. Makes it really interesting from a privacy standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like there is like I don't know, maybe it's not a technical or something. Maybe I just want to hear your opinion. When Bitcoin adopts Taproot, maybe yeah, some miner already agree about implementing Taproot, right? And at the same time, when you have privacy, the yeah, the media, mainstream media said that oh, Bitcoin is for criminal and implemented Taproot. I mean, it's not the anonymous, right? I mean, it's pseudonymous, right? I mean, yeah. Can you like elaborate between two? Because maybe some people still have misconception and misleading conception about the Taproot itself.
Well, I think in general, this is a critique that is leveled at Bitcoin, even before Taproot, obviously. That is something that criminals use to either send funds, fund criminal activity, pay for criminal stuff, pay for weapons. I always find it a weird critique of any currency. I mean, obviously, dollars are being used to sell weapons and do criminal activity as well. But nobody would ever say, well, we need to maybe we need to look at the dollar. Maybe we need to stop making dollars because people are doing doing illegal things with it, right? That doesn't make any sense to me. It's on the other hand, so from that, I think that you could even stop the debate right there. I mean, the fact that people do illegal stuff with money doesn't make the money the problem. Doing illegal stuff is the problem, and people should I mean, the police should just try to find out who's doing illegal stuff, and just like everybody else, they should be penalized for it. I'm not against the police, but I am against companies and states that have totalitarian tendencies.
Yes.
And I think that we should protect our privacy way more than we have been doing in the past 20 years. And Bitcoin can be part of that.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, even though it's anonymous, you can still track it, right? I mean, even
Oh,
with
definitely, yes.
yeah, you can track it by on-chain forensic, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yes. On-chain forensics is a big thing. So people saying that it's really easy to do illegal transactions with Bitcoin also don't understand Bitcoin. It's actually quite hard doing illegal transactions with Bitcoin because of that fact which you say. It's quite easy to track money. So maybe it's not that, and it's also been proven quite easy to identify, to link personal information to certain transactions because people are sloppy. So yes, I think that like you said, blockchain forensics is a thing, and so you could also say it's not true that that Bitcoin makes it easier to transact illegal money.
Yes, exactly. Even with Taproot.
Yeah. Also, Taproot won't change. Won't change that much. I think it will not change this debate. It will not change this debate because people that make this objection against Bitcoin, most of the time they are not that interested in the technology of Bitcoin, so they won't know about Taproot. So now it's a moot point, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I understand for you. I mean, like, I mean, you got the webinar in the Bitcoin Socrates from Bitcoin Sydney before, and you had also what is it, Pichard, or one of the pioneer in the Lightning node. I mean, what you guys want to try to achieve? I mean, during that webinar, I mean, you still have another run, or just
so I really like the Sydney Socratic webinars, and what we do there, we just discuss technical, mainly about Lightning and Bitcoin, technical developments in that space, right? And because of that, they invite people over that have published recently, or like now with Rene Pickhardt, he had released a preprint, which is really interesting. So we've done this before. Then we invite the scientist to explain his research, and then we discuss it. So anyone who's interested in and has a technical background, I would invite to join the Sydney webinar. It's really interesting.
yes, exactly. Because of Pickhardt is one of the pioneers in the Lightning network. Even
Yes.
Andreas Antonopoulos tried to reach out to him to Lightning network. I think you're right. There is also like. Like you said before, there is like network, and we as a community try to solve the problem, right? So that's the point.
Yeah, and I can explain a little bit what Rene is. I wasn't involved in his research, but I've been closely looking into his papers, and I can explain a little bit about what he's has been trying to achieve. But before I can explain that, I need to explain a little bit about Lightning routing, because his research is on Lightning routing, and we've explained how payment channels work between Alice and Bob, but one of the key features of Lightning Network I haven't explained yet, and that is multi-hop routing. So consider the same example again with Alice and Bob that have a channel, but now Bob also has a channel with Charlie. And the beauty of Lightning Network is that Alice can now pay directly to Charlie without having to open up a channel between Alice and Charlie. She can use the channel that she has with Bob, and then Bob can pay Charlie. So you have a multi-hop payment that works. Bob isn't able to keep the money for itself. He needs to transact with Charlie before he can get his money. So and this, so you can, so this peer-to-peer network that Lightning Network is, if you can find a route from you to somebody else in the network, a route of nodes between you, a route of channels between you and the person that you want to transact with, and that route has enough liquidity, has enough capacity, then you are able to transact with that person, which is incredible, right? I mean, you can transact with a person without having to open up a channel with him, and without any transaction hitting the blockchain. It's mind-blowing. So, and that's where Rene's research touches on, specifically on the route finding problems. And the route finding in Lightning is source-based routing. So the sender of the transaction needs to find the route to the receiver. And that is a difficult problem. If you run a node yourself, then you will see that it's difficult in the practical sense, that sometimes your node is just not able to find a route, and it tries multiple routes, but it's just not able to find a route with enough capacity to relay your payment. But it's also hard in the computer science way, because currently the route finding in the Lightning Network is a MP hard problem. And the research that René Pickhardt released this year proved that when you set the base fee to 0, then and you do some mathematical trickery, then you can transform that problem from an MP hard problem to a linear mean cost flow problem, which is super easy to tackle with a computer. So he said, if we can, that's why he pushed for a 0 base fee, because if all channels have 0 base fee, then that route finding problem is that linear mean cost flow problem that René just described in his paper. But I think there was a lot of confusion about the whole 0 base fee thing, because I think some people understood it as having 0 fee whatsoever, and that's wrong. The fee in Lightning, the payment fee that you pay in Lightning consists of 2 parts. It consists of a fixed part, which is called the base fee, and it consists of a progressive part, and that depends on the size of the transaction. And that part is called the PPM, the proportionally per million. And nobody is talking about the PPM. René is only talking about the base fee. If you set that base fee to 0, then his then his algorithm would work.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's why the research is still underway. Right? I mean, that's still going on, and I think because if there is technical difficulty to deal with, I think that's why it's not firstly implemented. Right?
No, that's an important point you make there. It's a preprint. It's not been published yet. With my limited knowledge of the maths, I've checked out the paper, and it looks fine to me. So I think that he has a strong point there with the 0 base fee. But there are also people that say that we shouldn't put the base fee to 0. There are also other incentives at play that maybe we shouldn't. I mean, currently you are able to set the base fee to 0 already. So you could benefit from what René is proposing, but René is also, I think, advocating for removing the base fee out of the entire Lightning Network protocol, so that you aren't able to set the base fee entirely. And I would say that currently it's a little bit too early for that. I guess let's wait until the research is properly published and the math really checks out, and then maybe we should change the protocol and remove the base fee. But currently, everybody and lots of channels already do have 0 base fee.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I mean, since it's the research from the Pichard to make Lightning 0 base fee. It's implemented on the Bitcoin improvement proposal or not? Because Bitcoin improvement proposal is one of those improvements in the Bitcoin protocol. Right?
I don't. It's not a Bitcoin improvement proposal because it's only. Lightning. So it should be a Lightning improvement proposal, and Lightning is currently knew that the concept of Lightning improvement proposal didn't exist until recently. And I think they are planning on creating something similar to the BIP, only it will be a Lightning improvement proposal. But no, I'm not aware of there being a Lightning improvement proposal for this already. But again, like I said, just not aware where we are now in the Lightning improvement proposals. If it's already the proper process, if that process is already set, I thought it wasn't there yet. So so I think currently we're still in the situation where there's not a thing like a Lightning improvement proposal.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, like maybe my audience is not really aware of what is Bitcoin improvement proposal is and Lightning improvement proposal is, and then could you elaborate a little bit more about that? What it's all about?
Well, yes. Both Bitcoin and Lightning are open source projects, and if you can think that everybody is allowed to work on those contribute to those open source projects. Like it's just open source like all other open source projects. You can just work and try to fix bugs or try to make improvements. But because I mean, Bitcoin is not your average open source project, right? It's so important, and so much money is on stake that at stake. I'm sorry. That they have a system of which are called Bitcoin improvement proposals. So you can submit a Bitcoin improvement proposal to a repository on GitHub, and then you get a huge. Everybody can debate that proposal, and then it gets if it's approved, then it will be integrated in the Bitcoin protocol. And Lightning works like that as well, but you can see that Lightning is a little bit younger, and so they don't have the proper procedures for creating those Lightning improvement proposals. But they will move to those proper procedures anytime soon.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that is all about, I mean, like when it comes to the development of Bitcoin, because you mentioned the Bitcoin proposal. Yeah, I mean, yeah, have you heard the news about many of Bitcoin developer step down? I mean, like retire from the development. I mean, what do you think about what's the problem? I mean, like it's because there's no incentive to become the Bitcoin developer, or what?
I wasn't aware of that news actually. Like I said, I was so invested. I still am so invested. That's one of the problems of doing a PhD, is that you need to focus on such a small problem.
Exactly. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So that's the only thing I'm able to think about, right? About Lightning privacy and security issues with Lightning. That's the only thing I'm concerned about right now. And sometimes I just don't have the time to be on top of all the new stuff that happens with Bitcoin or happens with other coins, not as much as I would like to. But in general, I think that the power of Bitcoin and the power of Lightning is, and the power of big open source projects, is that they shouldn't depend on one main contributor. So it shouldn't be a problem per se that a single person steps down as a main contributor for Bitcoin Core. But then again, obviously, if there's not enough incentive for people to contribute to Bitcoin, development will slow down. So that could be a problem in the long run. But one person stepping down should not be.
Yeah, not one person. I mean, like a couple of people. I don't know. Just recently. I mean, I don't know. That's why maybe you said before that you don't really react to that. Yeah, I understand that. But I heard the news. So many people like left the Bitcoin Core development. Yeah, that's why. Maybe I need to ask them directly rather than speculating like this, right?
Yes, I think.
Sorry. Yeah.
Maybe you should.
But maybe it's already. I also like read the articles from one of the Riot blockchain that said that one the challenges that Lightning Network facing right now is the inbound liquidity. Can you share a little bit more about the the current statement of the
Yes.
of that?
So because you work with payment channels, to receive money, there has to be money on the other side of a channel for you to receive money from that channel, because it's money that's being pushed from the other side to you. So that is called inbound liquidity. And that's a key aspect of Lightning Network, that there needs to be inbound liquidity for you to be able to receive money. And that's a problem, especially if you start out with Lightning Network, because if you open up channels yourself, you also are almost by definition the funder of the channel, which means that the money that you fund the channel with is money that is on your side of the channel. So that's outbound liquidity and not inbound liquidity. So it's always hard when you start out to get that inbound liquidity. But there's some stuff that you can do. There are things you can do to create inbound liquidity. And the most basic thing that you can do is to buy stuff using Lightning Network. Because if you buy stuff, then outbound liquidity, money that is on your side, on your end of the channel, is being pushed to the other side of the channel because you pay with it. So then you create a little bit of inbound liquidity. So that's the main thing that you get. That's the easiest thing. Just use the Lightning Network, and then you will create your own inbound liquidity. There are several services like Loop In and Loop Out to Loop Out on Lightning Labs that can be used to push money from your Lightning node back to your on-chain wallet. It's a complicated system, but you can use it to create inbound liquidity as well. And another thing that you can do is to orchestrate a little. If you have 3 nodes or more nodes, and you know those nodes, you can orchestrate a little circular payment. So you go from node A to node B to node C back to node A, and then everybody has a little bit of inbound liquidity. So you make a circular payment, and there are websites that where you can join into such a circular payment that makes it possible to create inbound liquidity. And then there are big Lightning nodes that for small payment, offer to open up a channel with you so that you can have inbound liquidity. So LN Big, one of the biggest Lightning nodes, there are several LN Big nodes on the network, offers this service where you can, for a small fee, they will open up a channel that has liquidity, inbound liquidity for you. So I think those are and I know that LND now also has something where you can, it's called liquidity ads. I understand the concept, but I haven't worked with it yet, where you can also buy inbound liquidity. So yes, it's an interesting problem, and definitely an issue of a challenge when working with Lightning and wanting to receive money.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I mean, is there enough liquidity in the Lightning Network reserve since the problem is in inbound liquidity?
And it's not per se a problem of having enough liquidity. It's a problem of having enough liquidity on the right end of the channels.
Yeah. I see. I understand right now the whole concept, since because Lightning is open channel and you have inbound and outbound liquidity and you have to match that.
Yes,
It's the proper.
every channel is like it's like an abacus where the money is being pushed from one end to the other end and then coming back again. So that's the problem. You have to have the liquidity on a specific end of the channel to be able to receive the money.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's I think it's that's it for today, guys. It's been an hour already. Thank you so much, Gijs, for your insight. It's been a lot to the community in Indonesia. I wish you all the best. Yeah, maybe before it's just for fun. You're not interested in this, but do you have any specific Bitcoin price prediction for the next year or for the next 2 years? Yeah, it's still move around or not? Yeah, it's just for fun. Yeah, you may be not interested. Yeah, before we just ended the interview.
At some point in the future, it will hit 100 million, a million US dollars, a million at some point in the future. I'm certain of it.
Yes. Yeah, it's mathematically possible, right? Yeah.
Yes, I either just because of value or because of the current inflation of the US dollar, but it will hit that million, I'm sure.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Gijs, for coming in. Yeah, maybe we have another talk to talk a little bit deeper about it. Yeah, thank you so much, and leave a like and subscribe to our channel, guys.